This story is a bit of a strange one, in that it seems that the BBC is a little bit jealous of Netflix, at least according to my take on the Daily Mail's report on this story. You see, the Daily Mail headline says that the BBC takes on Netflix as it calls for a dedicated on-demand button for all TV remote controls. In other words, a little bit like the one that you see for Netflix on most remote controls. Now, according to the Daily Mail, the BBC wrote to the House of Commons to say that the public service broadcasting is falling behind without a direct button to its content, and went on to say that there should be a requirement for a dedicated PSB button on all remote controls in instances that are similar to buttons for non-public service broadcast or audio-visual services, or a direct route to PSB apps from remotes in other instances, such as a long press on a numbered button. In other words, the BBC is calling for all remote controls by way of legislation to have a button for BBC iPlayer. Now, I for one think that this is a story for our friend Chilly John Carney, because surely these manufacturers are producing remote controls with buttons to Netflix because they believe that their customers want remote controls with buttons to Netflix. And if they believed that they wanted buttons to BBC iPlayer, then they would be making them. But they don't, as in they don't make them. So perhaps these manufacturers think that their customers don't want those buttons on their remote controls. However, the BBC says that without a legislative backstop, public service broadcasters are losing out to global platforms. For example, French prominence legislation sets a clear precedent, and the UK risks falling behind in protecting the ability of audiences to find public service broadcast content. Now, I don't think for a moment that anyone in the United Kingdom is not aware of the BBC and will seek it out and watch it if they so choose. But does that mean that they have to have a dedicated button on all remote controls? I'm not so sure, and I would be interested in your opinion, so I've linked a poll for just this in the description below. I'd like for you all to vote on it. Even if you're not in the United Kingdom, you can vote on the very principle of whether or not the legislature should put in place a codified requirement that manufacturers of a remote control should put a dedicated button to public service broadcasting. Remembering that, especially for those of you that are not in the UK and not familiar with our TV licensing, that you require a TV license to watch or record live TV, not for Netflix. You don't have to have a TV license for Netflix. But if it's the BBC or ITV or any other kind of live TV, watching it or recording it, you need a TV license. That is a fee that is paid every year to be able to watch and receive those services. But not for Netflix, which presumably is why the remote controls have opted for Netflix and perhaps others, such as LG, I believe, have got LG Home, and they direct you to various services of their choosing or the apps that you've installed. I don't know. I don't really use many of them. If any, I use YouTube and Netflix, and that's really it. So would I have a need for such a button? No. Would you? Perhaps. Perhaps not. Let me know in the comments below. Vote on the poll. Feel free to tag Chilly John Carney in the comments section to make sure that he picks up on this video, because I think this is something that he'll be interested in. And in the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.